All right, folks, welcome to the market recap. Today, we did have a setup, but unfortunately, both of the setup were not aligned to my trading guideline rules, so I did not proceed to take them. As you guys know, every day is a new opportunity. Every setup is like a bus. If I miss one or miscalculate or the setup didn't follow my trading guideline rules, I simply wait for the next bus. Simple. Next setup. And today we were very stacked. A lot of people were taking longs today, which is ideal. You know what I'm saying? If I'm bearish, I want people to be bullish so I can, liquidity. Need liquidity, which my couple of $1,000, I'm gonna push the market anywhere. But I just, troll. Today was a very interesting day. This whole past couple of days has been consternation. We have been stuck inside of a range, but I see the market getting out of the range when CPI comes around. CPI should be expanding to the higher time frame. Overall draw on liquidity. Now, in a higher time frame, our bias. Keep in mind, our bias was not from the weekly. As you guys know, the daily time frame is much more important than the weekly. But on the weekly, we had a weekly ERL, or you can say premium ERL to this current IRL, or you can say ERL to IRL, as well as on the weekly time frame, we had a weekly CRT, candle number 1, number 2, number 3. So we're looking for a classical CRT candle. On the weekly time frame, keep in mind, this is still our CRT, but since it's not very clear, we're going to use this as a CRT, because this could be a classic 3-candle model for its first candle, second candle, third candle model, and this could be this is a different variation of the CRT, but this is overall is a range. So overall, our biggest range we have on the weekly time from this candle, or you could say this candle, but we're not minding that until the market goes down here. Now right here is our overall CRT, because there's subtypes, right? This is the classical subtype of a CRT. Now on a daily, we have a daily. We had at the start of the day, I was actually bullish because we had a daily SMT ERL to IRL, but the IRL already got missed. So now we go from a daily IRL back to ERL, as well as we have a daily CRT to the downside. We are having a classic expansion profile 2 to the downside, Tuesday high of the week, whereas as well selling above the weekly opening price. We as well have a week above lower prices, close below low prices. So we're looking for a lower prices for the next couple candles, and that's what we had in a higher time frame. Now going down to the lower time frame for the market context and narrative, we had a New York Rosa profile 2, 5 AM accumulation, 9 AM manipulation, and 1 PM expansion. As you guys know, for the New York Rosa profile 2, we can have a advanced entry using the 8 AM as our CRT. Only the 8 AM. If the 8 AM gets respected, no advanced entry. Why? Because the 8 AM candle is usually the market open. So this could be a hourly AMD or CRT or whatever like that. As well, we have a bearish auto flow. We reject above the high right over here. We broke below the low. So that gave us a good sign that the market is doing that. As well, we had another rejection of the high. So we're looking for a break below the lows. We had a daily range, super low, super high, stable high, stable low, premium discount. We tell the premium daily range low, as well in premiums we want to sell off, as well as we have a range. Our range is range high, range low, counter range high, daily CRT, weekly CRT high, counter range low, weekly CRT low. Why is this overall my range on the weekly instead of this candle? Because this candle low right over here is there's no bearish bullish candle, so there's no valid low to make an actual range here. In this case, you see the weekly CRT low in the higher time frame doesn't have a valid low and lower time in the 4 hour time frame, right? So that's why I picked this over the other one as well. And what else we had here? We had a key level. We had S&T with DXY, as well as we had a 4 key level that still got respected as far for value gap, and we had another 4 key level, but you know what I'm saying, just as an extra context, our range was overall this 5 a.m. candle because this candle got disrespected. Now going down to the lower time frame, looking at the high of the 5 a.m. Was there a legit high? There was a legit high right over here. Now going to the hourly time frame, which is the New York reversal profile 2, we can use the advanced entry. So I'm going to down to the 5 minute. Look at the 5 minute time frame. So the ADM high does have a legit high. So look at this how they get pushed out. And then I'm looking for the right model number 1. And unfortunately, our entry was supposed to be at this bearish rejection block for a 42 RR, but unfortunately, the number 1 did not give us the right number 1 here. As you can see right over here, the market did not proceed to give us that right model number 1. You can see it gave us a body instead of a full candle closure. So we did this analysis. I was like, okay, I'm waiting for a 15 minute, but the 15-minute time frame didn't give us that thing that we're waiting for as well, because it gave us a body again. I was like, yeah, I'm done for the day. Not looking for no setups. Now going down to the lower time frame for the advanced entry once again, you can see it delivered very beautifully. If you were to shut this shit down, you were gonna make a big buck out of this shit, you know what I'm saying? So a 5 hour just to the, you know, just anywhere you're making a 5 hour here, which is beautiful, but there's no setup. How come? Simply because of the rules. Rules must always be respected. I said at the start of the video. And as you guys know, the zero property in math, anything times 0 is always equal 0. If I have everything but I miss one thing, it's gonna equal to 0. If I have the whole world, not the whole world, if I have everything but I'm missing the wrong number 1, it's going to fail. But wondering, well, this time we delivered. And nothing is guaranteed in the market. But as you guys know, probabilities, and you guys know that over longer term basis, those get disrespected a lot. But you'll never know when will they not get disrespected. So if you don't know, oh, the fuck the rule says, you're not. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've not been in the industry for more than 10 years, so I need to stick to what I got. I can't act like a smartass. As you guys know, anything times 0 always is 0, right? Anything times 0 is always going to equal to 0. So 100 times 0 is 0. 10 times 0 is 0. Higher probability times 0 is 0. The higher probability, but the high probability is missing one thing is 0. If you have a setup, you cannot say that this setup is a B plus or A plus or A or C or C plus or B. There is no such thing as that. It's only setups, because if the setup is missing something that is supposed to make it an A plus setup, it's gonna fail, because it's let's just say it works out, but in the long term it's gonna fail. That's why it's called a B plus setup. That's why anything times 0 will always equal to 0. So that's why you must have everything aligned. And this is a market recap. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. Join us question down below, and I'll see you guys later. Beautiful day. Unfortunately, no setup, but tomorrow we'll see how tomorrow goes. But there was somebody. A lot of you guys went long today. I don't know why. You guys say he seems bullish or make bullshit up. It was not only one guy. It wasn't only Chap. It was somebody else, fucking guy in the Discord. Whoever it was. Not Jedi or Nasdaq guy. It was some other guy. Fucking DM me, right? You must always have something supporting it. If it doesn't have something supporting it, then it's not true. I will every time I tell you guys a theory, which is not a fucking theory, it's part of the system. I show you guys an example, a proof of it, right? As in this, I said that for the New York Reversal Profile 2, we can have the advanced entry. This is New York Reversal Profile 2 again on Friday. Advanced entry, right? You can use a 5-minute instead of a 15-minute. Although there's a 4-hour CRT, this is only specifically for New York Reversal Profile 2, right? This is why you gotta use your brain a little bit. So this is why you guys gotta lock in. You know what I'm saying? Don't make bullshit theory up, right? 5-minute. Although there's a 4-hour CRT, this is why you gotta be smart and learn. You'll get there, but just don't be arrogant. Just don't have an ego. You know, all of you guys say I do have an ego. I say I have a 90% win rate. Not 90% win rate, accuracy. Right? A win rate and accuracy is two different things. My actual win rate is not actually 40%. It's more on that 50 to 60%. Because if I don't break my rule, as I said I showed you guys in one of my video, if I do not break my rules, when I showed you guys that video where I had a lot of losses, around 31 losses. Out of 31 losses, only 4 of them were actual losses that were probability. Everything else, I remade a mistake. So they were not losses in my book. The only time I ever count a loss is if it's a probability loss. Everything else is just a lesson, right? That's what should always be going like, right? Because if you don't do that, and you probably wonder like, well, shit, you still lose fucking money. Yeah, but over the long term, you gotta think long term basis. You can't think in the next couple of days, next couple of months. You gotta think next year, 4 years, 5 years from now on forward, right? That's how you gotta be. That's how you guys should be doing, right? Like my actual win rate is way higher than 40%, but I say 40% just to bring my shit down, right? Because as I said, ego is a big problem in this, especially if you're unprofitable and you have an ego, you are not going to ever make it in trading. Fuck that shit, right? Don't have an ego. But when a lot of you guys say to me, I have ego. Yes, I have an ego to extend. Right? I don't have an ego where, my boy Para, shout out to that guy, man. I love that guy, man. But you gotta have ego in some ways. In some ways, you gotta stop having an ego, right? You can't just have an ego to. If you're not making money, but you have an ego, there's no point of having an ego. If you're making money, you have an ego. Cool. You have a reasoning. I see a lot of people on social media, on Twitter especially. Some guy says I'm the best ICT trader, I'm the best ICT concept trader, while fucking being broke, right? Showing us some to the tick entries, but he's still unprofitable. He's still not fucking rich, right? That's why you gotta put your ego down. You gotta think about consistency. How can I consistently make money, right? That's what you gotta think about, right? Doesn't matter about the to the tick entries. It matters about if you can make money. Did you make money? Yes or no? No, then shut the fuck up. There's nothing for you to have an ego. If you made money, if you make actually money from the market, then you can have a sense of ego to an extent. Not too far, like you're the best in the world, you're gonna fuck up. You have ego where it's alright enough for you to say it, but you're still, learning. That's the good part, right? You should have that because, ego is a big thing. I'd be like, I went to my training practice yesterday that said, if you ever want to become the coach told me a very valuable lesson. I will even show you guys that lesson here. The coach said, if you want to become a UFC world champion, because this guy has connection to the UFC. This guy has connection to UFC. He has UFC. He literally made a UFC world champion. He literally has UFC fighters, right, that he coached. He said, if you want to become a UFC world champion or get into UFC or be a very high ranked fighter, because his fighters one of them is ranked #1 in the world on this division, right? But he's a nobody though. Because people like, if you don't have fame, you're a nobody. I fucking, I watch UFC, but I don't even knew that fucking guy. But he was #1. Didn't even knew that guy, right? That's why you gotta have a fame. But that's not the point. The point is, he said, you have to. There's not I want to be in the UFC. It's not that I want to become a world champion. It's that I am the world champion and I will be the world champion. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be fucking this shit, right? I don't want to stream, right? I don't like wanna word or I, wanna is or I want is a very weak fucking word, right? If you want to become UFC world champion, you have to think I'm already am a UFC world champion. I'm already am, a profit trader. I'm already am a multi-millionaire, right? You don't want to become it. You want to be. You don't want to or want to become it. You have to or you will or I am already. But when they will, isn't that when you say I am already, isn't that gaslighting yourself? Keep in mind, you're not actually gaslighting yourself. You will sometimes if you say too fucking far, you will gaslight yourself. You fucking get off track. But if you know the logic behind it, which is basically to, because your mind doesn't really know that anything that your mind doesn't really know the difference between reality and fake, right? Something thinking in your mind. If you think about sex right now, your dick will get hard, right? Pause on that, but that's what will happen, right? Because your mind doesn't know the between reality and the subconscious, right? Doesn't know what's the difference between the reality and the mind, because your mind could think about anything, right? It can imagine anything, and your body can actually feel it. So that's why you guys got to think here. If you're not profitable, say I'm only profitable, but you gotta don't say I'm fucking profitable. Do the fucking work that a profitable trader does, right? Show up every fucking day. Fucking journal every fucking day. Do all this crazy shit. You can't just fucking come here, especially come to my live stream, talk shit, go away, right? That's something the problem. The problem is you have to think that you already are, or you will have it, right? I will be a World champion. Will is a weaker version of I'm already am, right? You can use a will as a motivation, but you can see it as a am as a so your mind knows, okay, I have to fucking lock in, right? Your mind doesn't need to have motivation for that specific thing. But if you say will, it gives you motivation. If you say just, I am already something profitable, a world UFC champion, your mind will, give you discipline or motivation. You'll do one of the things, right? But thanks for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. Join our description down below, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.